Hey now, Joe Lesky. I play piano, you want to play piano, let's do this. Once you've mastered the 5-finger scale, you're ready to move on to its older brother, the C major scale. First thing we want to tackle is the notes that we're playing. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Then we come back down. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. If we put that all together, it looks like this. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. The reason we want to have a really strong understanding of the 5-finger scale first is that it gives us an introduction into how our fingers need to move on the keys. Once we feel and understand that, we can move on to the first big obstacle when playing any scale, the crossing over and the crossing under. So what do I mean by that? Well, if we start with our right hand, we end up going 1, 2, 3, and then we cross our thumb underneath onto F, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more time. We have 1, 2, 3. Our thumb comes underneath on F. Then we play 2, 3, 4, 5. Now on the way back down, we do the opposite of that. We start with our 5th finger, and we go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cross over with our 3rd finger, 2, 1. One more time, we have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3rd finger comes over, 2, 1. This is something that takes a while to get used to, so practice slowly and with lots of repetitions. Another important thing to look out for is the pivot. When we cross under, we don't just want to cross over like this with just our thumb, right? We want to cross over and pivot our wrist away so we make more room to get our thumb in. And then when we pivot back out, our fingers are already in place. Same thing on the way back down. When we cross over, we pivot our wrist, pivot back. So altogether, it looks like this. The reason the pivot is important is because if your finger's already on the key that it needs to play before you have to play it, you can't possibly make a mistake. So when we do this pivot, our wrist moves over to clear enough room to get our thumb right where we need it to be to play. And then when we come back, 2nd finger's already in place. Same thing on the way back down. When we move out of the way, we get our 3rd finger there, comes back, we already have 2 and 1 where they need to be. Once we have the right hand figured out, we're going to switch to the left hand, which is exactly the same, just opposite on the way up and on the way down. So here's what I mean. We start with our 5th finger on C, and we go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cross over our 3rd finger onto A, 2, 1. On the way back down, we go 1, 2, 3, thumb comes underneath onto G, come back over, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all together, that looks like this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cross over, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, thumb underneath, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As always, we want to make sure we know what notes we're playing. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. If you can't say the names of the notes as you play them, you probably don't know them well enough and should go slower and speak them out loud as you play them, one hand at a time. A drill that can help make the crossover and cross under feel a little bit better is having our fingers stay in place and just move them over instead of crossing over. So we get used to what it feels like when they're already there, and all we have to do is add the crossover later. That's what this looks like. This is what that looks like. And then we just move over. So we take each part, 1, 2, 3, we're already here. This is a shape. We move to our next shape, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, without doing the crossover. Then when we put this all together, we have 1, 2, 3, move, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same thing on the way back down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just move. 3, 2, 1. So once you have each shape ready and you add the crossover in, it'll be a lot easier because you're not thinking about two things at once. You can focus just on the crossover. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Same thing with the left hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now when you get to the top of the scale and come back down, you can either stop, play the C again and come back down, or just keep on going, which means stop and come back down by playing C again, or play it up and down without stopping. Either way is acceptable at this stage in the process, but eventually we want to make sure that we just keep playing without stopping. We don't want to develop the habit of having to stop every time we go up and switch directions, but for right now, for drill purposes, totally fine. Next, of course, we want to put both hands. I always do that. I always go like this when I say hands together. I'm going to try my best not to this time and moving forward, because I never do this in my day-to-day life, but here I am doing it in these videos. Sorry to everyone at home. So now we want to put both hands together, and this is going to be tough because now we have crossing over, crossing under. They're happening at different times because the hands go in opposite directions as far as the fingerings go, but they're heading in the same direction as far as the notes are going. So it's going to be a little bit tough. Stick with it, go slowly, and you'll get the hang of it. Here's how that goes. Cross on the right, cross on the left, back down, cross on the left, cross on the right. Knowing when and where to cross over and under and with each hand in the correct order is the key to making this work with both hands. So we start by going up, our right hand crosses under first, then our left hand crosses over, and on the way back down we do the opposite. Left hand crosses under, right hand crosses over. Eventually, when we've practiced this long enough to feel like we can move on, we want to go to playing 2 octaves, which adds another crossover and cross under. That looks like this. New crossover, new crossover, so with this new crossover, we want to make sure that we're paying attention to where this is happening, and it's happening right before or right after we get to C. So with our right hand, we go C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Now we cross under with our thumb to get to C. And then we do the exact same thing we did for the 1 octave scale. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the way back down, we go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Now going back to the C, we cross over 4, and we do the fingering that we had on 1 octave. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Then with our left hand, we go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Now when we get to D, we cross over our 4th finger and do the same finger we had for 1 octave. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. On the way back down, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Thumb comes underneath onto C. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now when we put both hands together, and we have 2 octaves, here's how the crossover pattern goes. Right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. And on the way back down, we go left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand. Obviously, I've been doing this for quite a bit of time, so I'm able to go a little bit faster, but you can use that for reference just to check in and make sure that you know where and when, with which hand, and in what order you're crossing over and under. I really can't stress this enough. Learning your first scale is going to take a lot of time, practice, and effort. And you don't want to develop these bad habits by playing sloppily, because those are really hard to break later on. One great tool that we have at our disposal is the ability to practice this absolutely anywhere on any surface. What do I mean by that? Well, if we close the lid of the keyboard, we can do this. Just doing that might seem silly and like it's not helping anything, but getting used to the muscle memory of doing this pattern really does end up helping in the long run. Now you can do this again on any surface, anytime, anywhere. Here's a few examples of that. So that should be everything you need to get started with playing the C major scale with both hands, 2 octaves. Again, take your time. There's no rush. Getting these good habits developed now is going to help us a lot down the line. Make sure you know what notes you're playing, make sure you know when and where you're crossing over and with which hand, and you should be well on your way to being a better pianist. So if you learned something new today or liked what you saw, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe so you can keep up to date on new stuff that comes out on the channel. That said, I've been Joe Lesky, you've been great, and we'll see you next time.